The first way is different, meaning that JLP is not the same as any other corporation. In this situation, JLP is distinct in how they handle their management, consisting of 88,900 permanent staff who partner with JLP and their employees' mindset to enhance the business. Info from other sources, JLP is a unique business with different ownership, a different purpose, and a different outlook to any of our other competitors, said Charlie Murphy, the chairman of the JLP. Second word is news items, meaning a daily or weekly newspaper article highlighting JLP's distinctness was written on 40 pages for people to read. There were also several interviews with JLP workers. Info from other sources, countless news items have been produced discussing news or difficulties that the JLP has experienced. Third one is academic journal articles, meaning it is shorter than books and is written about JLP, resulting in a collection of high-quality articles regarding JLP management and performance. Info from other sources, Paul Chilton of Leicester University has published a journal titled Challenges in the Study of Language and Politics, Challenges for JLP. Fourth one is confirm, meaning establish the truth or correctness of JLP facts previously believed or suspected to be the case. Many journalists have interviewed individuals who were or have retired from JLP in order to check to ensure the facts regarding JLP are correct. Info from other sources, John Lewis confirmed that it was unlikely to be a bonus again next year, either when it is forecast the financial result would be even worse owing the investment in a 5-year turnout plan. All these 4 words are from the same info from case study, which any number of news items or academic journal articles will confirm that the John Lewis partnership JLP is different. The next info from case study is JLP operates 48 John Lewis stores across the United Kingdom, 24 of which are department stores selling everything from lingerie to electrical goods. Operates, meaning JLP serves as a function or system for numerous department shops and supermarkets all around the United Kingdom, selling everything to its consumers. Info from other sources, Speed and Lewis wanted to operate a way of doing business that was both commercial, allowing it to move quickly and stay ahead in a highly competitive industry, and democratic, giving every partner a voice in the business they co-own. This combination so ahead of its time and continues to make us what they are today. Stores, meaning a shop of any size or kind. JLP operates 48 John Lewis stores across the United Kingdom. Info from other sources, John Lewis and Waitrose owner wanted to cut 100 jobs in stores due to pandemic. Department stores, meaning a large shop that is divided into several parts, each part selling a different type of goods. Info from other sources, the John Lewis partnership stated on Wednesday that it aims to slash 100 managerial roles at its John Lewis department stores and Waitrose supermarket in order to fulfill its cost-cutting objective. Lingerie, meaning women's underwear and night clothes. JLP sells items to its customers, including a wide range of lingerie. Info from other sources, JLP offers online shopping services that allow customers to shop without having to leave their homes. Electrical goods, meaning concerned with operating by or producing electricity items that satisfy human wants and provide utility. JLP sells a variety of things to its consumers, including electrical goods. Info from other sources, JLP provides online shopping service that allow clients to purchase without leaving their homes, and everything will be delivered right to their front door. Profits, explanation, a financial gain, especially the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent in buying, operating, or producing something. Profits is distributed to the partners rather than to the external stockholders. Info from other sources, as a consequence of a strong 2019 and 2020 earnings, retail company John Lewis Partnership is giving a 2% incentive to its 83,000 employees. Flowing to the partners, meaning the profits smoothly continuous go to JLP's partners rather than external shareholders, unlike most capitalist companies. Info from other sources, the dividend, which is part of the organization's profit sharing program, was revealed to employees, gave staff 3% of their wages in 2018 and 2019. External shareholders, meaning those who do not directly work with a company but are affected somehow by the actions and outcomes of the business, like profits, in contrast to the administrative personnel who work hard to create profits so that the profit sharing grows. Info from other sources, with no external shareholders to please, John Lewis employees have the opportunity to share in the power, benefits and profits of a company. Capitalist enterprises, meaning involves a ruthless belief in the importance of increasing material production to the utmost possible extent, now and immediate future. JLP differs from typical capitalist companies in that earnings are distributed to partners rather than external shareholders. Info from other sources, not every business can be like John Lewis, is a leading article for The Independent on Tuesday, 17 January 2012. Info for case study for these 4 words is, with profits flowing to the partners and not the external shareholders, JLP is very different to the most capitalist enterprises. The next info from case study is, however, it isn't the number of stores, not the retail offering that makes this organization different. It is the 88,900 permanent staff who are partners of JLP. Number of stores, meaning a quantity or amount of fixed sales premises which the customers enters to make their purchases. Info from other sources, the store currently delivers to 30 international markets, open 5 concessions within Australian department store chain near and a store within Heathrow Airport to help with its brand's awareness among tourists. Retail offering, meaning the sale of goods individually or in small quantities to consumers. Retail offering is not what makes JLP better than others, but it's the prominent who are partners with JLP. Info from other sources, JLP also provides a retail offer where you may buy little products at low rates such as wholesale pricing. Permanent staff, meaning people who are employed on an ongoing basis until the employer or employee ends the employment relationship with JLP. They are also partners with JLP. Info from other sources, all 79,500 permanent employees of John Lewis are partners and they are ultimately control the retailer 35 department shops and 272 Waitrose supermarkets. Partners, meaning permanent employees and JLP are both involved in the same activity. Partner denotes co-ownership in the partnership in which the partners were entitled to portion of earnings as equity partners. Employees of JLP, for example, are partners since they share ownership as well as earnings. Before from other sources, there are a lot of testimonials from former or current workers that have worked or partnered with JLP. Partnership, meaning in this case study, the terminology used in John Lewis partnership, this is an arrangement established formally by 2 or more people in order to operate the firm and share the earnings from the business. Info from other sources, the John Lewis partnership is the UK's largest employee-owned business and parent company of our 2 cherished retail brands, John Lewis and Waitrose, which are owned in trust by 80,000 partners. Supermarkets, meaning a large self-service shop selling foods and household goods. In 1937, JLP purchased Waitrose store. Info from other sources, even though groceries are not available online, Waitrose supermarket does. Company purchase, meaning a commercial business that to buy something which is JLP by Waitrose supermarkets. Info from other sources, in 1937, grocery company Waitrose, consisting of 10 shops and 160 employees, was taken over by John Lewis and today operates as its supermarket arm. Info for case study for these 3 words are from paragraph 193, which is the partnership also includes 351 Waitrose supermarkets, a company purchased by JLP in 1937.
As stated in the case study, in 1864, Jones Lewis started trading on Oxford Street in London. However, it was not until 1929 that the John Lewis partnership was established. The word trading means an act or activity of buying, selling goods or providing services, like when John Lewis started trading on Oxford Street before John Lewis partnership was established. As info from another source, trade is a basic economic concept which involving the buying and selling of goods and services with compensation paid by a buyer to a seller or the exchange of goods or services between parties. Next is partnership. Partnership is an arrangement made by 2 or more parties formally in order to manage a business and share the profits from business, and in this case study, the terms used is John Lewis partnership. Info from other sources state that partnership is contract that forms an agreement among business partners to pool labor and capital, share in profits, loss and also liability. And the last one is established. Established is something that has been existed for a long time, that it has been recognized and accepted widely. In this case, John Lewis partnership has been established in 1929 and become very well known after that. Info from other sources state that established means to start a company or an organization that will last for a very long time. Next information from the case study state that John believed that business success should be balanced with the happiness of employees, and that by making them partners, he was allowing employees to share the responsibility of ownership as well as the rewards in the form of a share of the profits. Now, what is the business success? Business success is where a certain or any business activity is running very well with profitable income, and this can be achieved when employees share their responsibilities as well as the rewards. In other words, success in business is running profitable, able to contribute to communities as well as nurture balanced lives of their employees. Next word is balance. Balance is when matters are being considered or treated fairly and equally. For example, when employees' happiness and satisfaction are balanced, a business is able to run very successfully. Info from other source states that balance means keeping something or showing a matters that in a good proportions. The third word is happiness. Happiness is a state when employees or workers are feeling happy and satisfied while working. For example, when JLP employees started receiving their cash bonuses, they are feeling very happy and very motivated. This can be proven from the case study where John said balancing the happiness of their employees is important. Hence, he turned them into partners to share the responsibility of ownership as well as rewards, and the rewards are cash bonuses. Next word is share the responsibility. It means where partners or workers work together in handling their business, like making decisions to make a certain work done. For example, in this case study, employees share responsibility of ownership when they become partners. Info from other sources state that share of responsibility is when a team of employees are empowered and feel comfortable to rely on one another, accountable to achieve the business goal. Next is ownership. Ownership is a right for control of a property. Like in this case study, the partners have the rights to hold responsibility of ownership as well as the rewards and profits gained. In other words, ownership is also a state, act, or right of owning something. The term can also refer to an organization or group of owners. Next one is rewards. Rewards is a thing that is gifted as recognition for their effort or achievement in their works. For example, from the case study, employees started getting paid their cash bonuses 70% of their average pay by JLP. This can be proven from the case study. Since 1970, averaging from 70% of their average pay, cash bonuses have started being paid to workers as rewards. Info from other sources states that employees respond to appreciation at work when it's expressed through recognition of their efforts because it confirms that their work is valued by their employers. The last word for the information from these case studies are profits. Profit is an income or financial benefit that is gained from business activity that exceeds the cost in sustaining the business. Partners are also allowed to have their share of rewards in form of share of profits. Info from case study states that in paragraph 2, John believed that by making employees partners, he was allowing them to share rewards in form of the profits as well as the responsibility of ownership. Info from other sources to support this statement is that retail organization John Lewis Partnership is awarding a 2% bonus to its 83,000 employees as a result of their 2019 and 2020 profits. The point from the case study states that these rewards have not been insubstantial, averaging 70% of average pay since 1970 when cash bonuses started being paid. Now, what is insubstantial? It means where rewards for workers have not been so important back then. Back then, cash bonuses were not very familiarized until the year 1970 when JLP started paying cash bonuses for their employees. Next is averaging. Average is the estimation of total payment that workers received over a period of time. For example, in the case study, employees are paid their bonuses by 70% from their average pay. Other source to support this statement is John Lewis Partnership is awarding 2% of bonus to their employees as a result from their previous year profits. And lastly, cash bonuses. Cash bonuses means sums of extra money given to workers' wages based on their work performance. In the case study, employees receive 70% of their average pay for their cash bonuses reward. A source from an article said that the highest level of average cash bonuses given to their John Lewis Partnership employees are reportedly to be up to 24%, and over the year, it has been 11.5% of average.
For roles, it means the function assumed or part played by JLP partners in the business partnership to do the things in a particular situation that is supposed to be one of its responsibilities. For example, in the case study, we can see that JLP partners have their role as simply receiving a share of the partnership profits. Info from the case study, we can see from the first sentence and the paragraph 2, where the role of the partners is not limited to simply receiving a share of the partnership profits. Paragraph 3 and line 1. While info from other sources state that roles for John Lewis give a move, it says it will allow it to get the best of both worlds out of its new management structure. Not limited means the role of JLP partners in business that have been named are part of something larger, and the larger things may also have other parts in it, and not to depending on one scope purposes like got something to do. For example, in the case study, the role that JSP has on responsibility is not limited to simply receiving a share of the partnership profits. It shows that JLP partners and another roles and work, but not clearly stated in the case study clearly what is the role. Then for info from case study, we can use the same sentence as previous. And info from other sources state that the JLP scope of works were not limited to the economic organization, also the other works that needed MUSA's partnership and profits. Receiving a share means the partner with JLP business will receive some benefits from their hard work. For example, from the case study, we can see that the JLP partnership will gain the profits from the income instead as the main role in the sentence. Info from case study that we can get from this sentence is the role of your partner is not limited to simply receiving a share of the partnership profits, given paragraph 3 and line 1. And the other paragraph that I found, it's about the receiving a share is the continuous success of JLP and the general feeling that a business should be measured against more than share price could see, in paragraph 3 and line 2. And from info from other sources that I get is fairly recently the partnership and employee both receiving the profit share incomes and dividend per year. For the partnership profits, it means that an income or financial benefits that is gained from JLP partnership business activity that exceed costs in the sustaining the business with the other partner in the same business. For example, from the case study, the partners for the business simply will gain the profits that come out from the share with the JLP. Info from case study, we can see that the role of the partners is not limited to simply receiving a share of the partnership profits, based on paragraph 3 and line 1. While I found another paragraph that relates to the partnership profits, it says that the continued success of JLP and the general feeling that a business should be measured again more than share price could see, from paragraph 3 and line 2. While info from other sources that I got is John Lewis Partnership recorded a full year profit of 131 million up to 70 million last year that will be distributed accordingly to their involved partnership, affect their business shops owing to the partners shift to online. Partnership council means a joint committee that established upon professional application of trades in JLP partnership. For example, in the case study, the partnership council that is legitimately elected looks after the interests of the partners. It shows the partnership council a small organization in the JLP partnership that has its own role. Info from case study that I managed to get is the partnership council, a democratically elected body, looks after the partners' interests. Paragraph 3 and line 2. The council has a say in how profits are spent, can influence matters such as pay and pension, and directly elects 5 members of the partnership board. In paragraph 3, line 3 and 4. Then for info from other sources that I managed to get is the partnership council embodies the democratic structure and is directly elected by the partners. Democratically elected body says that the people directly deliberate and decide on the legislation in the JLP organizational structure of partnership that have been selected on the majority acceptance. From the example in case study, the partnership council that is legitimately elected looks after the interests of the partners. It shows that it is a process which involves the appointment that has their vital role in the organization. That info from the study, we can see the sentence is related to the partnership council, a democratically elected body, looks after the partners' interests, paragraph 3 and line 2. And for info from other sources that I managed to get, it said that today our democratic network of elected councils, committee and forums enable partners to participate in decision making of the partners' management structure. Partners' interest means the percentage of a partnership and rewards that are owned by a particular members involved in JLP partnership. For example, in case study, the partnership council serves for each the partner's interest in this partnership. Info from case study that I managed to get, the sentence is same as the previous one from the previous words. And the next paragraph that I managed to get is the council has a say in how profits are spent, paragraph 3 and line 2. And info from other sources that I managed to get is belief in rewarding our partners and serve the benefits as according to their percentage held in JLP partnership for their time and energy. It shows that partners' interest is a percentage of profits that will the partners keep. Has a say means that the things should happen as it has been seen in the council views. For the example, in the case study, the council has a say in how profits are spent. This shows that the flow of the money that is in their way of how the profits will be spent wisely in their view. Info from case study that we can see from the paragraph 3, line 3 and 4 that says the council has a say in how profits are spent, can influence matters such as pay and pension, and directly elects the 5 members of the partnership board. While info from other sources that I managed to get, it says that challenge management of performance and have a say in how the business is run will give the views of the structure. How profits are spent means the flow of the money in business after accounting for all expenses that have been done along the business in the JLP partnership. For example, in case study, the council has a say in how the funds have been used in the business, the money journey flow in and out in the business. Info from case study that I managed to get is from the paragraph 3, line 3 and 4. It is the same sentence. While info from other sources that I managed to get, it says that every 10 spent online with the joint waste was driven by our shops that have been recorded, trading operating profit for the partnership by around 30 million at the end. Influence pay and pension say that the flow using profits can affect the pay and pension in business, whether imposed on cons as indirect pay and as much look for labor conditions as it does according to wage. For example, in the case study, we can see that the council has a say in how earnings are spent, how sway over issues like the pay and pension will affect indirect transaction, can increase wage using it. While using it in the business and appoints the 5 members and the partnership boards directly, but in this sentence, it does not clearly state what is the effect of them. Info from case study, it states same as the meaning. We can see it stay in the paragraph 3, line 3 and 4 that state that have the same sentence as previous one. Then info from others that I managed to get, it says that the council assess the social and economic impact of the contributory finance salary and pension scheme. Directly elects mean a system of choosing the holders that are decided in the JLP partnership organization structure. For example, from the case study, 5 members of the partnership boards are fully justified by the council in order to keep in track with the profits flow spent. Info from case study that we can see is stated in the paragraph 3, line 3 and 4. The council has a say in how profits are spent, can influence matters such as pay and pension, and directly elects 5 members of the partnership board. Info from other sources that I managed to get related to this meaning is direct election is a system of choosing the organization office holder in which the voters directly cast ballots for the person for the management structure. Mechanism means a natural or established process by which something takes place that will bring the JLP management keep in track and systematics. For example, in case study, there are systems always in place to ensure that all stakeholders throughout the organization have a voice in the structure. Therefore, from the case study that we can see, there are mechanisms in place to ensure that the structure allows all partners across the business to have a voice. Paragraph 3, line 5 and 6. Then info from other sources that I managed to get, it says that the partnership uses a combination of a trust mechanism and corporate structure to establish a subtle and finely balanced government system. Then for the structure is mean the arrangement and relation between two parts of vital elements that will ensure the system of organizational structure of JLP going well. For example, in this case study, there are mechanisms that will help in ensuring this structure allows the desired goal in the business. It shows that structure is something that is structured in an organization. Info from case study that we can see, it is from paragraph 3, line 5 and 6, which it said that there are mechanisms in place to ensure that the structure allows all partners across the business to have a voice. Then info from other sources that I managed to get is the John Lewis Partnership has an unusual organizational structure, including employee council, independent press, and a profit share scheme. All partners from this sentence means all the people that are involved in this business, like stakeholder, employees, the partner share, and buyers. For example, in the case study, it shows all partners to have their partners across the business to have a voice. We can see these meanings of all partners based on two paragraphs that I managed to get. First, from John believed that business success should be balanced with the happiness of employees, that by making them partners, he was allowing employees to share the responsibility of ownership as well as the rewards in the form of a share of the profits. Paragraph 2, line 2 until 5. Then I have another paragraph from paragraph 3, line 5 and 6 that state there are mechanisms in place to ensure that this structure allows all partners across the business to have a voice. Then info from other sources that I managed to get is state that all 700 permanent employees are in partners who own 45 John Lewis shops across the UK, 342 Waitrose supermarkets, and online and catalogue business and other business across the country in the same JLP organization. Across the business means affecting everyone or everything in a situation in a JLP partnership organization. For example, in JLP state that all partners across the business show that it involve all partners that take place in the partnership. Info from case study I can find is from paragraph 3, line 5 and 6. It states that there are mechanisms in place to ensure that this structure allows all partners across the business to have a voice. Then info from other sources that I managed to get, it says that John Lewis Lewis began an experience in a better way of doing business by including staff in decision making. Voice in this sentence means expressing something or giving some idea on something. For example, in this case study, the JLP give their partners chance to voice in the organization structure. Info from case study that I managed to get in paragraph 3 and paragraph 4 is that there are mechanisms in place to ensure that this structure allows all partners and for the business to have a voice. Then the second paragraph states that there was a real sense of connection and belonging even amongst those who have retired. And for info from other sources that I managed to get related to this meaning, it states that in democratic, giving every partners a voice in the business, they co-own this combination so ahead of their time continues to make us what we are today. Local level means a characteristic or an association with a particular locality of area, particular space or place of serving only a small portion of something. For example, in the case study, it states that the elected partners work alongside managers in the particular locality and show some small portion from the organizational. Info from the study that I managed to get is that in paragraph 3, line 6 and 7, it states that at a local level, elected partners work alongside managers to influence the running of the individual store. Info from other sources that I managed to get is that at the local level, the decision is closer to making this decision. Elected partners means person who have been chosen for a position. For example, in the case study, there are some chosen partners from some people to work with the manager to influence the excellent running individual store. Then info from case study that I managed to get from the paragraph 3, line 6 and 7 is that at a local level, elected partners work alongside managers to influence the running of the individual store. Info from other sources that I managed to get is that the organizational democracy have been selected as the key concept as elected people were chosen to make a good structure. Alongside managers being work with the help of managers under the JLP organizational structure. For example, in the case study, it stated that the elected person will be guided by the manager to do the work properly in handling individual stores successfully. Info from case study we can get from the paragraph 3, line 6 and 7. It stated at a local level, elected partners work alongside managers to influence the running of the individual store. Info from other sources that I managed to get is stated that work alongside the team's manager and coach them on the job to improve performance and grow that capability. Influence said that the capacity to have an effect on the character and the development and the organization. For example, in the case study, the work along with the manager will give an effect to improve the skills of the elected workers. Info from the case study I managed to get from the paragraph 3 and line 6 and 7 is stated that at local level, elected partners work alongside managers to influence and the running of the individual store. Info from other sources that I managed to get relating to the influence meaning is corporate heritage brand identify influence is customers and all partner satisfaction. This state that the influence affects something. Individual store means retail store that are limited with direct personal transaction with customer. For example, in the case study, we can see that the individual store is limited as some elected people only be chosen and in local area it happens. Info from case study is same as the previous one in paragraph 3, line 6 and 7. Then info from other sources that I managed to get, it says that John Lewis opens a small draper's shop on Oxford Street, London that is called only an individual store or individual retail house. Distribute means give a share or unit to each number of recipients in the JLP organization. For the example, in case study, we can see that JLP gives weekly in-house newspaper to their partners for encouragement. Then info from case study that we can say JLP also distribute a weekly in-house newspaper called The Gazette, with actively encourage partners to ask questions, with each question receiving a personal response from the management based on the textbooks, page 617, paragraph 3, line 8 until 11. Info from other sources is that distribution centers are part of the Juan Lewis anticipation of changing partners' needs, which has seen the percentage of partners orders for the encouragement. For in-house newspaper, it means that a form of media used by a company to communicate to employees about news. For example, in case study, the JLP gives the in-house newspaper to communicate with their partners to encourage them ask questions, and so that the management gets to know the voice of them. Info from case study that I found related to this meaning is that on the paragraph 3, line 8 until 11, it states that JLP also distribute a weekly in-house newspaper called The Gazette, which actively encourage partners to ask the question, with each question receiving a personal response from the management. And info from other sources that I managed to get is that the partner's opinion is also enabled through our weekly in-house magazine, The Gazette. Encourages means give support and hope. For example, JLP distribute the in-house newspaper to build hope and hear for the voice of their partners. Info from case study that we managed to get is same as the previous one, in paragraph 3, line 8 until 11. Then info from other sources that I managed to get is that many of them are encouraged by current activities in the JLP, where this array of the activities and projects have informed the background knowledge. To ask question in this sentence means to know what the matter are surrounded under the JLP organization structure. For example, JLP distribute in-house newspaper which actively encourages partners to ask questions that have been happening in their life. Info from case study that I managed to get is same as the previous one, where in paragraph 3, line 8 until 11, info from other sources that I managed to get in detail, it said that asking question is a unique, powerful tool for unlocking value in something that happens. Personal response means description and analyzing of partners' own thoughts and feelings about something. For example, after they send and ask for a question, they will get the description details and the curious thing that will be gotten from the management. Info from case study is same as the previous one, and I got it from paragraph 3, line 8 until 11. And info from other sources that I managed to get is said that personal response generally involve several details that analyze, interpret, and make connection to the text that was read. The management means an organization that gets people to work together to accomplish desired goals. For example, in case study, the JLP have their own management as there is the department that will handle the voice of their partners or employees and encourage in improving their own skills. Info from case study I managed to get from 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is same as the previous one, paragraph 3, line 8 until 11. The second paragraph that I found is in paragraph 3, line 6 and 7, stated at a local level, elected partners work alongside managers to influence the running of the individual store. And another paragraph I found in paragraph 3, line 2, is stated that the partners council, a democratically elected body, looks after the partners' interests. And info from other sources that I managed to get is stated that the JLP management places major emphasis on a simple model, still condensed that the way partners are treated and protected.
Work is a task to be undertaken given by JLP that need to be engaged mental or physical activity for their earning. For instance, JLP employee not only work but also they engage as a partner for JLP. Based on the case study from paragraph 3, the elected partner must work alongside with their manager to influence the running of their individual store. And also based on other source, Natasha, a partner, and also assistant restaurant manager at Berside Hotel for JLP has worked for the partnership. JLP stands for John Lewis Partnership, which includes John Lewis Store, Waitrose Supermarket, and other retail-related activity. JLP is a different organization where their employee become their partner. Based on the case study from paragraph 3, John and Lewis believe that by making the employee as their partner will be the key for their success, as the employee will be more happy. Based on other source, over 100 years, JLP still maintain their co-ownership, which their employee will become their partner. Based on the case study in 2010, the Guardian newspaper has published an article after interview JLP employees that were currently or already retired. Based on the case study, we know that we can interpret the words. Article The Guardian newspaper interview JLP employee past and present. Article for The Guardian means a piece of writing that has been published by The Guardian. Based on other source, there is an article that has been published by The Guardian about is JLP the best place to work for. Newspaper means the printed paper that contain new article, advertisement, and also correspondence about something, for instance about JLP. Based on other source, in June 2021, The Guardian newspaper has published about JLP that offer equal parental leave for their all staff. Interview is a face-to-face communication method for knowing some information regarding to the potential job candidate. For other source, John Coffiner has interviewed the great-grandson of the founder of the JLP for knowing benefits and challenges of share ownership. JLP employee is the people working under John Lewis Partnership and also the partner of JLP. Based on other source, JLP employees share the ownership responsibility of the JLP, which make them as the partner of JLP. Presence means occurring now. For instance, the employee currently working under JLP. For other source, in the end of January 2021, the total number of JLP employees is 80,900. Past is the thing that happened in an earlier time. For instance, JLP employee that has been stopped working or retired from JLP. Based on other source, there is an article that has been published about the benefit of JLP employee that has been retired. Based on the case study from paragraph 4, it was stated there was a real sense of connection and belonging among JLP employees, even some of them already retired. From this, we can get word real sense, connection, belonging, and also retired. Real means something as if why. Sense is the feeling of something. In this context, real sense can be explained as the feeling that can be felt by the JLP employee. Based on the other source, real sense can be explained as the responsibility of ownership that has been shared by all JLP employees. Connection is a relationship in which a person or thing that link together with something else. For instance, between JLP and their employee or among JLP employees. Based on the other source, connection in JLP can be explained as the magazine that has been dedicated to the employee that has been retired to keep their communication with JLP. Next, belonging. Belonging was included in Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory under social need, and also means the sense of acceptance. Based on the other source, belonging can be the motivating factor that can increase the productivity of JLP employees. Retires mean the withdrawal from one position in the organization because the service has been end or else. In this context, JLP employees stop working with JLP. Based on the other source, JLP has provided some benefit for the retired employee. Based on the case study from paragraph 4, JLP employees were asked why they stay with JLP more longer than industry average. One partner replied that if people were not happy, they had the responsibility and support to do something about it. From this, we can get word stay, company, industry average, partner, replied were not happy, support, and also responsibility. Stay means remain in a place, which in the context means employee that keep working with JLP. Based on the other source, people tend to stay working with the company if they find the job satisfaction and also comfort in company environment. Company is an organization with a legal entity formed by a group of individuals to engage in and operate a business. In the context, the company is JLP. Based on the other source, JLP is a company that sells everything and their employee was regarded as the partner. Industry average is a ratio that summarizes a measure of company financial performance, but in the context, industry average can be explained as the period of employee work for an organization. Based on the other source, industry average can be useful for a company before making an investment. Partner indicating the co-ownership of a partnership. For instance, JLP employee become the partner as they share the responsibility of the ownership. Based on the other source, JLP employee has shared their experience about being the employee and also the partner. Reply is when you say something in response to someone say or ask towards you. For instance, JLP employee give answer for the question about why they stay with JLP. Based on the other source, reply is when you say something when someone asks you about something. We're not happy is have the feeling that people did not really enjoy what they do. For instance, if there are people who are not happy with JLP employees, based on the other source, JLP has their own word, which is not one of us can rest, be happy, be at home, be at peace with ourselves until we solve hatred and divisions. Responsibility refers to an obligation to do something which can be the duty of the employee to perform as it was assigned to them. Based on the other source, JLP employee has their own responsibility as the partner because they share their ownership. Supports mean allowing employees to develop and use their ability and skill when something occurs or do their assigned tasks. Based on the other source, supports mean bearing all over something, or it can be give assistance to those who need it. Based on the case study from paragraph 4, the other JLP employee referred to a willingness to make extra effort, specifically noting that motivation felt different. From this, we know that partner referred, willingness, extra effort, noting, and also motivation. Partner refers mean people with co-ownership of a partnership has mentioned about something. Based on the other source, partners means person or organization that involved closely in some way, and refers mean regard or think of something. It can be said that partner refer as others think of something. Willingness means opportunity defined as task-specific confidence, commitment or motivation, or the quality or state of being prepared to do something. Based on the other source, JLP has shown willingness to adapt to the current situation even the bonus has been wiped out by COVID-19. Next, extra effort. Extra effort is a greater extent than usually, regarding a vigorous intent when it comes to duty. Based on the other source, extra effort is if you make an effort to do something, you try very hard to do it. Next is noting. The root word of noting is note, which means pay particular attention to the everything that has happened. Based on the other source, noting means to persist with a special effort of the sense or mind. Motivation is the process by which a person effort are energized, directed, and sustained toward attaining a goal. Basically, in management, the manager motivates the employee in order to devote maximum effort to the employee's job. Based on the other source, JLP prioritizes motivation as it can keep the great work of the employee. Hence, providing incentive will be the great motivational technique has been applied in financial and non-financial in JLP. Based on the case study from paragraph 4, the greatest price for the system came from a partner who confirmed that she only begrudgingly moved to another company if it offered her twice the salary. From this, we can get what greatest price, system, partner who confirmed, begrudgingly moved, another company offer, and twice the salary. Greatest price. Greatest means an amount that exceeds the average price, provide the kind of positive experience or uplift that can increase employees' morale, motivation, and engagement, and renew their commitment to their manager and organization. Based on the other source, greatest price can affect the productivity of the employee, engaged and more likely to stay with their organization. System is a set of activity laid out as a series of steps that we accomplish a specific goal. For instance, JLP has employed their own system that need to be followed by their own employees. Based on the other source, over 100 years, JLP keep using their own structure in making the employee as the partner and also employee involved in decision making how to run their business. Partner who confirms means person with co-ownership in a partnership who was sure about something. Based on the other source, JLP has confirmed that the team of John Lewis and partners and Wiltshire and partner to operate in a single business to enable faster delivery of better product and service for its customer. Begrudgingly move means reluctantly, or it can be said to do something even you did not want to make a progress. For instance, JLP employee said that she only changed to another company if the company can offer her twice the salary. Based on the other source, begrudgingly can be said that unwilling because the employee has no choice, while the move is to change direction or position. Another company is a different organization with a legal entity formed by a group of individuals to engage in and operate a business. Based on the other source, another means the difference or distinct from the one first considered. Why a company is a business organization that makes, sell, or buy goods or provide service in exchange for money. Offered means specific marketing message intended to create purposely engagement that delivered to a group of people or prospect using one or more channels. For instance, JLP employee got an advantage that has been supplied by another company than JLP. Based on the other source, in order to keep their employee from moving, JLP has offered staff support and also social activity as total reward proposition. Twice the salaries mean that the rate of pay is double than the usual amount of employee receive for normal work that made by the employer to employee. Based on the other source, JLP will not double the employee salary if their performance did not improve, and every partner's pay is reviewed to make sure it reflects their individual performance.
Then, we will move to the fifth paragraph. The first sentence of this paragraph is, while employee ownership is rare, JLP is not alone. This means that even though employee ownership is not a common system to use in the management path, but there are other companies who are applying employee ownership in their management system, just like what JLP is doing. The words that we can interpret from this sentence are employee ownership, rare, and not alone. Employee ownership is a term for any arrangement in which the employees of JLP own shares in the company's stock. Employees are part of the owner as they share the responsibility of ownership as well as the profits, as they also have a voice in the company's management because JLP is distributing a weekly in-house newspaper called the Gazette, which encourages the employees to ask questions related to the company management, with each question receiving a personal response from the management. If you view the link that has been shown on your screen, you will know that employee ownership is where the businesses are significantly owned by their employees. Rare is a situation or condition that is not occurring very often and not found in large numbers. It is not common for rank and file employees to have equity in the companies that they are working for, just like what JLP is doing to the employees, as we all know the employees in JLP are having equity in the company. If you view the link that has been shown on your screen, you will know that it's not a common thing that the employees have equity in the company because not many companies are applying this in their management system. That is why employees ownership is called rare. Not alone means there are other companies that are supporting JLP by doing exactly the same thing with what JLP is doing. Those companies are applying an employee ownership system in their management, even though employee ownership is not a common thing. If you view the link that has been shown on your screen, you will know that there are 470 employee-owned businesses across the UK. The The second sentence from this paragraph is, there are members of Employee Ownership Associations, EOA, which represents UK organizations that are currently employee-owned or currently moving to this new form of ownership. The words that we can interpret from this sentence are members, Employee Ownership Association represents currently moving and new form of ownership. Members mean any person that is an employee of the company or any of its subsidiaries, but in this case, it refers to the companies that are part of the Employee Ownership Association. Well-known members include John Lewis Partnership, Arab, and McDonald. In this link, it states that the members of the EOA are the companies ranging from large to medium and small companies, which represents a diverse range of sectors. The Employee Ownership Associations, EOA, represents organizations which are employee-owned or moving to employee ownership across the United Kingdom. The EOA can provide guidance, advice, and support to those companies who are considering the transition to employee ownership. In this link, it states that the Employee Ownership Associations represents the voice of the employee-owned organizations in the United Kingdom. Represent means to be entitled or appointed to stand on behalf of a constituency, especially in an official capacity. For instance, there are few companies which substitute for the UK organizations that are currently employee-owned or currently moving to this new form of ownership. From this link, we can know that Employee Ownership Association represents the voice of employee-owned organizations in the United Kingdom. Currently moving means making changes at the present time or now. There are members of EOA have changed their old management system to the new form of ownership, which is employee ownership. In this link, it states that employee ownership is an increasing popular option as so many companies are currently moving to this new form of ownership. New ownership form refers to the employee ownership system. This system is called new because those companies are currently changing their old management system to this new form. Employee ownership is a term for any arrangement in which the employees of a company own shares in the company stock. The sentence from this paragraph is, according to EOA figures, the number of employee-owned business in the United Kingdom is increasing by 10% per annum. This is because from the previous sentence, it states that more companies are moving to the new form of ownership, which is employee ownership. The words that we can interpret from this sentence are figures, number of employee-owned businesses, and increasing by 10% per annum. Figures is a number, especially one which forms part of official statistic or relates to the financial performance of a company. Figures in this case refers to the Employee Ownership Association's EOA reports about analyzing the development in the companies that are adopting employee ownership, as well as the profit that the states will gain from them, which estimated about 25 billion to the UK economy. Number of employees means number of persons who work for an employer and who have a contract of employment and receive compensation in the form of salaries, fees and piecework. In this case, it refers to the number of employees-owned business in the United Kingdom who receive benefits from their company in many terms such as profits, extra bonuses, or a voice in management. In this link, it states that number of employee-owned businesses is a number of people who work in the companies that are applying for employee ownership. Per annum is a Latin term that means annually or each year. This means that the number of employee-owned businesses in the United Kingdom is increasingly by 10% annually in every year. In the report prepared by the Employee Ownership Association, it states that there is a trend in the UK where employee ownership has increased by 10% in the last 12 months. Next, we're gonna move to the fourth sentence of this paragraph, which is, in 2009, an independent report by the Demos think tank estimated that the employee-owned sector was worth 25 billion to the UK economy and further development should be supported. The words that we can interpret from this sentence are independent report, Demos think tank estimated employee-owned sector, further development and supported. Independent report is an official opinion issued by the DEMAS, Britain's leading cross-party think tank, to ensure the quality and accuracy of the financial statements that has been prepared by the company that is applying the employee ownership. In an article written by the Madhuri Thakur states that an independent report is a report which has been prepared by an independent auditor after examining the financial statements, books of accounts, internal and external control of an organization. The DEMAS think tank is a body of experts providing advice, independent reports, and ideas on the UK economy. The DEMAS came out with an independent report stating that the employee-owned sector in the United Kingdom was worth 25 billion to the UK economy, and it says that the further development should be supported because it has seen the potential of applying employee ownership, giving benefit to the company as well as the state. In the report prepared by Alan Locke states the DEMAS is Britain's leading cross-party think tank that produces original research, provides innovative thinkers, and hosts thought-provoking events. Estimated is a value or number of the employee-owned sector worth to the UK economy that is approximately calculated by the DEMAS. In the report that has been prepared by the Williams states that the co-owned businesses where employees were allowed to share responsibility of ownership as well as the rewards in the form of ownership are currently worth 25 billion and estimated to the UK company. Employee-owned sector is the sector where the companies are applying employee ownership in their performance and management system. The employees own a responsibility share, giving them a stronger voice in management, decision making, and the profits from the companies. In the report prepared by the Employee Ownership Association (EOA) states that the employee-owned sector is primarily a commercial private sector that is adopting employee ownership in its business. Further development means the program of further research in the process for growing or developing the employee-owned sector in the United Kingdom. In the report titled The Employee Ownership in Britain Today, it states that since employee ownership is not a common form of business ownership, further development should be provided, such as shift from manufacturing to services in advanced industrial economies. It seems appropriate to provide employees with rights to controls and to the returns to human capital. Support is any kind of act of helping the further development of the employee-owned sector in the form of money or other valuable things that so that the research will succeed. The last sentence from this paragraph is, in 2012, this growing belief in employee ownership was further supported when the UK Deputy Prime Minister called for more companies to follow the JLP model, arguing that firms where staff had more of a stake, were more innovative and had higher levels of productivity. The words that we can interpret from this sentence are growing belief, further supported, more companies are growing their firms, stakes, innovative and higher level of productivity. Growing belief indicate that an increasing number of people are coming to trust and believe that employee ownership can give benefit to the companies as well as the state. Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has urged for more companies to follow the JLP model by offering shares to their employees because they believe that it will improve productivity and unlock growth. Further supported is a continuation of helping for a further development of employee ownership to success, where the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is calling for more companies to follow the JLP model. In this link, it states that when the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom urged for more companies to follow the JLP model, there is hope that the measures will create what he called a John Lewis economy. More companies mean a growing number of companies, the organizations that produce or sell goods or services that are following JLP model by applying employee ownership system in their management. Arguing therefore means give reasons or cite evidence in support of an idea or theory, typically with the aim of persuading other companies to share one's view where applying employee ownership can increase innovation, have more stability and potentially lead to lower unemployment in the overall economy. In this article, it states that based on the studies, these firms, which is employee ownership, have higher productivity on average. Stake is often used to describe the amount of stock an investor owns and a financial share that the employees own in business where the companies are applying employee ownership in their management systems. If you view the link that has been shown on your screen, you will know that stake is the employment income and safety. Employees have a direct stake in the company where they work to earn income for themselves as well as the other benefits. Innovative is introducing or using new advanced ideas or methods about how something can be done. If you view the link that has been shown on your screen, you will know that the employee owners are not only happy at work, but are also a regular source of bright ideas. As a form of stakeholder capitalism, the evidence shows that employee ownership boosts employees' commitment as well as the motivation, which leads to greater innovation because there are improvements with their communication and management skills. It helps them to make better decisions and new ideas. Higher level of productivity means greater output from the same amount of input. This happens when the employees are willing to make an extra effort and do anything to the company. Based on the article prepared by John Story, it states that employees who work at the company that are currently employee-owned are expected to act more like a boss. They will be more customer focused because they see the customer as the source of their economic income, so they are willing to make sacrifices in hard times in order to sustain the company.
Next information from the case study is, it is unlikely that the JLP model will totally replace the typical capitalist enterprise anytime soon. What is a capitalist enterprise? It means a private or individual business run from your wealth or economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production, distribution and exchange by the capitalists to operate or manage their property. As mentioned in the case study, the JLP model is unlikely to replace the already existing capitalist enterprise. In other information, capitalistic enterprise involves a ruthless belief in the importance of increasing material production into the utmost possible extent now and in the immediate future. Next info from the case study is, however, the continued success of JLP and the general feeling that a business should be measured against more than share price could see the employee-owned organization becoming far more common in the future. The first point is success. Success is when an aim of a purpose of joint risk partnership is able to be accomplished. Based on the paragraph 6, page 61792 and 3, it is said that continued success of JLP and the general feeling that a business should be measured against more than share price could see that employee-owned organizations will become far more common in the future. Info from other source. Success means a favorable outcome, which is the accomplishment of one's goal. The second word is share price. Share price is the amount of money that would cost one to buy a share in the company should not be fully measured by a business. This can be related from the case study that the general feeling of a business should be measured against more than share price, followed by continued success of JLP. They could see that employee-owned organization will become far more common in the future. Also, info from other sources say that the stock's price only tells you a company's current value or its market value. So, the price represents how much the stock trades at, or the price agreed upon by a buyer and a seller. Next word is employee-owned. It means a state where employees own a responsibility share, giving them a stronger voice in management, decision-making, and the profits from the companies, and in future the type of organization will become common. Info from other sources say most employee ownership companies have a management and governance structure similar to other companies. For example, a board of directors elected by shareholders oversees the company's activities and appoints the CEO. Employees directly vote their shares in some cases, but these are rare and this type of organization are very common nowadays because the main benefit of employee ownership is that it gives employee the ability to benefit from the value of company stock and to benefit from increases in value. And then we have organizations. Organizations refers to a collection of people who are involved in pursuing defined objectives. For example, in this case study is employee-owned organization. Info from case study to support this statement is that based on paragraph 6, line 3 to 4, employee-owned organizations will soon become more common in future due to the success of the JLP model. In other words, organizations is a group of people who work together in an organized way for a shared purpose. And the last word is common. Common is something that is done often, and in this case, where the employee-owned organizations have not become an odd thing in future. In other words, common means when something is very common and it is found in a large numbers or it happens often.
Yes, there is a link between the approach at the dual-ways partnership and the earlier theories of motivation. It tells us about the similarities between the type of the motivation stated in the theories with what dual-ways partnership JLP do to motivate their employees. JLP does understand that someone tends to lose motivation once a need is subsequently satisfied. So, JLP is trying to focus on satisfying the needs above the level of Maslow hierarchy. At this point, JLP is trying to satisfy the esteem needs, which is one of the needs that is located at the higher level. A person's need for internal esteem factors such as self-respect and achievement, and external esteem factors such as recognition and attention, they give rewards to their employees in the form of a share of the profits and even allow all partners across the business, which are their employees, to have a voice on something related to the company. JLP also distribute a weekly in-house newspaper, which actively encourages partners to ask questions, and each question will receive a personal response from management.
This also can be related to HAMDAN two-factor theory, which provides two factors of employee motivation at the workplace. They provide hygiene factors such as supportive and effective supervision and the relationship between the co-workers and supervisor, as they distribute a weekly in-house wallpaper. So the employee can ask or even have a voice to tell everything about their dissatisfaction to the managers.
They also provide motivation factor which encourage the employees to work harder when present, as they offer a strong reward averaging 17% of average pay since 1970 when cash bonuses started being paid. By doing this, a work environment where all employees are respected can be created, and those employees will feel valued and appreciated for their work. As a result, they are willing to sacrifice themselves and do anything for the company.
On the other hand, managers in JLP are also employing McGregor's Y theory, which has a positive view about the employees and assumes that they enjoy the work that has been given to them and are ready to accept any responsibility. That is why JLP is giving the opportunity to the employees to voice themselves. The founder, John Lewis, is making the employees as his partners and allowing them to share the responsibility of ownership, because he believes that business success should be balanced with the happiness of employees, and every employee must play an important role in his company in order for this company to be successful.
The success or failure of the company resonates with the owners themselves because they are the ones who manage and controls their employees. They should try to seek for something to motivate their employees if they want those employees to work hard for them. The success of the JLP company in motivating its employees has been proven when one of their partners said that if the partners were not happy, they had the responsibility and support from the company itself to do something about it.